welcome everybody. My name is Jonathan Jones. I'll be your host and moderator for the afternoon. We're excited to have so many of you joining us this afternoon because we know that there's so many other things that you could be doing with your time on a Sunday afternoon. It's 4 o'clock on the East Coast, and I guess it's 1 o'clock there, and on the West Coast where Dr. Prasad and some of you are. But we applaud you for joining us. We're going to be taking some time to interview and to have a discussion about neurological issues with Dr. Prasad in just a moment. We just want to always be mindful that meetings like this are not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your primary health care physician. Remember, meetings like this are for educational purposes only. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you, because we don't know the clinical circumstances surrounding someone's personal story, their personal testimonial. But we can attest that the stories that are being shared are believed to be true and factual. The individuals that are sharing their stories believe them to be true. However, that having been said, we always want to preface our discussions by reminding everyone that good health, it's a journey. It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed even in the wealthiest nation on earth. Because in fact, right now, as far as rankings are concerned, the wealthiest country on the planet is ranked in the bottom 10% of quality of health in the world. And it spends more than the top 8 or so, was the last figure I saw, combined. The top 8 countries in quality of healthcare combined. And the United States uses far more pharmaceutical drugs than any country in the world. So that kind of makes you scratch your head and wonder, what can I do? Is there something I can do to alter the results that I'm getting? Or am I just to accept that once I begin down a path of not feeling well, that this is simply my lot in life and I'm going to have to endure this for the rest of my life? Well, we believe to the contrary. We believe that that's not the case. We believe that there's action that each individual can take that can change how you feel and improve the quality of your life right now. And part of that, part of the solution centers around good nutrition, besides smart choices. Today, genetically modified, re-engineered produce is readily available. And that started out as a very good idea. We've had discussions here about the intent of genetically modified foods. To take 1 acre of land to yield 10 acres of wheat was good intention. To be able to reduce the amount of pesticides being used by turning the crop into a pesticide itself was a good idea. To somehow try to reduce the amount of weeds in a plot of land, it's a good idea. The problem is there were consequences that have come with that. So make good choices as far as your health is concerned with what you eat and what you ingest. Try to choose as organic and as non-GMO as you can. And it has been determined, recent reports, but just within the past couple of years, they've discovered that 80% of all grains, including cereals, oats, have glyphosate. And that's the weed killer in it. And that's conventionally grown. So try to find as organic and as non-GMO as you possibly can. Part of the seriousness of that is that some of those toxins can end up in a place you would least expect them to. There is a proven, defined gut-brain connection. They even found what you might classify as brain cells in the gut. There's a direct connection between the two. So if there's toxins in our gut, those toxins make their way to the brain. So let's have a discussion now with a world-renowned scientist and researcher, Dr. Prasad. And by the way, my name is Jonathan Jones. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm actually by all rights a nobody. I'm just a researcher. But our real, our real guest and our real expert today is Dr. Kedar Prasad. Dr. Prasad has been published more than 250 times, and Dr. Prasad has published more than 31 different books, and he's currently working on a new book. I'm sure that we're going to get him, squeeze some information out of him about that because it speaks right to our discussion for today. So, Dr. Prasad, thank you so much for joining us, and we certainly appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
So, Dr. Prasad, would you mind just giving us an idea of the subjects that you've explored over the years? Just a cliff note, just a little bit brief synopsis of some of the subjects you've explored before we get to our main subject. I know you've gone down cancer.
Yeah, I have done a lot of work in all these years. Cancer is one of them, and also the neurological disease like Alzheimer and Parkinson's disease. And of course, the role of micronutrient, how it can have impact, dramatic impact, both in cancer as well as in neurological diseases, or for that matter, in whole diseases, all chronic diseases. And so,
in fact, you've written one book. One of your books is on fighting heart disease,
right,
with vitamins and micronutrients.
Yes.
Concussive brain injury.
Yeah.
The immune system.
Yeah. Diabetes.
And the list. Which disease?
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about an extensive list, but now the latest work that you started working on right now has to do with neurological disorders.
Yeah. I think the book that I started writing it, and I'm negotiating with the publisher, same publisher that they published my 5 books for consumers on various diseases and micronutrient. The book that I'm writing right now is called Dementia, How to Prevent and Improve Treatment. That's the title of the book. And as you know, even though there are 80% of dementia occurs in Alzheimer's disease, but the 20% of dementia occurs which are not related to the characteristic of Alzheimer's disease. So 20% of dementia like vascular dementia, mixed dementia, and 70 to 80% of Parkinson's disease patient develop dementia. And so dementia can be divided in a 2 group. One group is, of course, major one is Alzheimer. Another group is the rest of them, 20% belongs to the rest of them. And it is a real problem because despite the excellent recommendation by the Alzheimer Association and the National Institute, the prevalence and the incidence of dementia is increasing. And the current cost of treating or taking care of patients with dementia is about $355 billion a year.
$355 billion per year to treat dementia.
Yeah. And currently in the United States, we have about 6.2 million people who are living with dementia. And if there is no preventive or treatment strategy are developed, this number will continue to increase. And in 2050, the cost would be $1 trillion. So it is a major cost, not only for the nation, but also the emotional cost of the family cannot be measured. So it is a real problem, and the problem is increasing.
Absolutely true.
Go ahead.
Before you go on, Dr. Prasad, let me just ask you, could you tell us some of the contributing factors to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, dementia?
Yeah. First, I will talk something about what happens to the brain every day in our brain. our brain uses about 25% of the oxygen from air that we breathe. And even though it represents a smallest set compared to heart and lung, but the brain uses oxygen disproportionately very high level. And the reason they use it, because oxygen is the only way they can generate energy. And brain needs a lot of energy because to perform all its daily function. And so, but when you use that kind of a high level of oxygen, as a byproduct, free radicals are generated. And this process occurs, energy generating, in a place called mitochondria, which is a tiny, elongated, membranous structure in all cells of the body, including in the brain. So mitochondria picks up oxygen, generates energy, and then produce a lot of free radicals. So much so, it takes oxygen that 2% of the oxygen, unused oxygen, leaks out of mitochondria and generates billions of free radicals. So under that kind of condition, you would have thought that brain should have a higher level of antioxidant level, protective antioxidant level. But on the contrary, they have the lowest level of antioxidant in the body compared to other organs. And so, so that's one problem. And secondly, that the membranous structure, because neuron has a lot of membranous structures. And so they are very sensitive to damage produced by free radicals. So brain is daily exposed to high level of oxygen. And therefore, what happens after the age of 20, you start gradually losing your nerve cell from your brain. And by the time you become old, and if the sufficient number of neurons are lost, then you develop disease like Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer disease, non-Alzheimer dementia, and all kind of chronic neurological diseases. So the question is, then how do you prevent it? Can you prevent the rate? Eventually we will have, when you become 100, we will have all this kind of problem. But also 10% of the dementia is family history. You have a genetic defect. And even there, so these are all problems that, so the question is how we can address that so that we don't lose, or if we lose, you lose extremely slow rate. So when you are 100, then you can have a dementia or anything. By the time all of us are ready to go to different planet anyway. So the question is how we can do it. Well, the National, as I said, the National Cancer Institute and Alzheimer Association have provided a guideline which is primarily focused on the diet, like take a good diet, like, plant-based fruits, fish, less red meat, and so, good diet. And don't, in a lifestyle, don't smoke, because smoking also generates a lot of free radicals, tobacco smoking or any kind of smoking. It generates a lot of free radicals. So avoid, for example, environmental agents. There are many environmental agents which will, including the EMF, they generate free radicals. And we can't avoid some of those things. But humans are very difficult to change the behavior with respect to diet and lifestyle. We have been saying, for example, American Cancer Society, all society, they provide a good modification in the diet and lifestyle, good suggestion what you should do, but nobody follows it. And somebody follows it, that maybe partly, that may not be sufficient to suppress the causes of dementia or causes of Alzheimer or causes of other neurological diseases. So we decided to see what are the potential things that we can do to reduce the risk of damage that nature did not provide it, sufficient amount of antioxidant. And so we decided that we will approach with an antioxidant, because these antioxidants are known to neutralize free radicals, and free radicals are causing damage. And what happens, another component of the, so free radical damage occurs first in your brain, and that when you are young, that damage is repaired. As you grow older, the capacity to repair damage produced by free radicals decreases.
Okay.
And then of course, then you have and if you can't repair fully, then chronic inflammation sets in motion. And when it happens, chronic inflammation will also release additional free radicals plus a whole bunch of other toxic chemicals such as pro-inflammatory cytokines, and all of them are very damaging to nerve cells. So this is very, very damaging. And so the question is, then what can you do to take care of these free radicals? Everybody knows antioxidant is one of them. And so people have tried antioxidant but unfortunately, knowing fully well that body doesn't have one antioxidant, body has a multiple antioxidant. Some antioxidant we take from the diet, other antioxidant our body makes it. So there are multiple antioxidants. So when you run a clinical trial to reduce any kind of disease, dementia or other, or even familial Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's disease, then it is very difficult to have a one approach, just single antioxidant. Nevertheless, all clinical studies that have been done with a single antioxidant, vitamin E, sometimes beta carotene, and all of them have failed. You expect almost you fail. Not only that, but when you try in a disease to reduce the risk in older individual, for example, older individual have a high basal level of the free radicals. So oxidative environment is very high in older people or the people who are at risk for developing chronic diseases. And if you give a single antioxidant like vitamin E or beta carotene, they will get oxidized in that kind of environment, whether it is in brain or outside the brain. And when they get oxidized, instead of acting as an antioxidant, they act as a pro-oxidant, which is damaging to the cell. So we decided we will not use that kind of trial or that kind of suggestion for reducing the risk of dementia or any kind of neurological or brain chronic diseases. Because
Dr. Prasad, let me just ask you a quick question then before you proceed on. And this is just for the benefit of some that may not fully understand the seriousness of a free radical. So you just mentioned free radicals entering into the body through toxins and the massive amount of oxygen that the brain requires, that produces free radicals. You mentioned that the mitochondria, which is what's producing energy in the cells, that also produces free radicals and oxyradicals also. So all these radicals, what kind of damage can they do to cells inside the body?
Yeah, first, free radicals, when we call free radicals, that means the molecules have a unpaired electron, because most of them have a paired electron, so they are not very reactive, they are not very damaging. But once electron is lost, then they become free radicals, and then they will cause damage to DNA, RNA, protein, lipid, every part of the cell they can damage it.
Well, that DNA damage is that's serious. So
Yeah,
if you start doing damage to DNA and RNA, that's a real problem.
yeah, then that's what, and that's involved, repair mechanism involves DNA. And so,
Uh-huh.
so it is very important that they have this kind of damage. And since they are so damaging, so how we can do to reduce the, not only, now in another terminology I will use, oxidative stress.
Right.
When we say oxidative stress, when excessive production of free radicals overwhelm the antioxidant defense system in your body, oxidative stress occurs. That means free radicals become dominant, and then now they are going to cause damage. When that damage occurs, if you are young, it tries to heal, and they healed up. But if that damage is not healed fully, then immune system produces a chronic inflammation, and that is very damaging. So now you have both different types of damaging in your body, oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. So
we need to get rid of these free radicals, and we need to control oxidative stress. So that's the reason why you're going down this direction of antioxidants, and not just one antioxidant, but multiple antioxidants. Can I just share one quick story? My brother-in-law, when he was fighting cancer, the cancer had advanced to such a degree that he actually passed out. I mean, he was going unconscious, and I asked the doctors in the hospital to give him something that would raise his antioxidant levels in his body. We saw this happen. He completely came back to himself. So that lowered the oxidative stress in his body and actually gave him regained control of his mental faculties. It was the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, it is, and I think I was the first one to demonstrate that high doses of antioxidant can kill cancer cell, but not normal cell.
Oh, wow.
High doses of antioxidant can increase the effectiveness of chemotherapy and radiation on cancer cell, but might protect normal cell. Either have no effect or protect normal cell. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, we published this work a long time ago, but they have not caught any attention from the oncologists as yet.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. They always want a clinical trial, even though, and I have patenting this particular idea for cancer. And the reason is I was finding that how it happens. Antioxidant is supposed to protect both cancer cell and normal cell. How come? And a small preventive dose like we have in a micro daily, they will, if you just use according to our suggestion, they will protect both normal cell and cancer cell. But if you use high dose of
then it selectively modulates.
Right. So what happens? Then I found out, trying to figure out why it happens, that high dose kills it, low dose, if anything, stimulates the growth of the cancer cell. And we've suddenly found out that what happens, that the cancer cell uses not mitochondria to generate energy, but another pathway called glycolysis. In other words, they don't use oxygen to generate energy. They generate energy by some other mechanism. And so there is very inefficient mechanism. So what they do, cancer cell, is smart. They use a lot of glucose. When glucose gets metabolism, they can generate a lot of. So glucose is extremely important for the survival of the cancer cell. That's why they take a lot of glucose. And second thing they do a lot, they must have, is called glutamine. Glutamine is amino acid. Normally you don't need it until you have a stress. It is not essential amino acid. So these two, they must have to survive. And what high dose antioxidant does, it blocks the uptake of glucose and glutamate into cancer cell. So the cancer cell dies. It doesn't
That's a
happen to
beautiful
normal
thing.
cell because normal cell do not depend upon the glucose and the glutamine for their survival. So it is very selective. And
That's
so
a beautiful thing. That sounds like that would be a very simple solution if anybody wants to fight off abnormal cells.
yeah, any abnormal cell,
and
whether even it is a cyst, say for example, which is a just the growth and risk of developing a like adenoma, for example, in colon cancer. If you don't do anything, it can grow cyst in the breast, cyst in nose, any place, and it can be totally cured.
Interesting. High dose of antioxidants. So go on then. Tell us more about the antioxidants then with respect to
So
clearing up the brain.
Yeah, dementia. Yeah. So we decided. So first we identified that in case of dementia, during last several decades, a lot of damages had been identified, like oxidative stress damage, inflammation. Then there is damage called production of excessive amounts of beta amyloid, which is very important.
That's what I was going to ask you about, amyloid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also hyperphosphorylation of another protein, tau protein. They also have found out that inhibits proteasome. Proteasome is the enzyme, group of enzyme, is very important to clean up dead cell, dead protein in the cell. They don't allow it to accumulate it. And because these things happening all the time. And so proteasome is very important for the removal of debris, protein which are damaged protein, and like, for example, in beta amyloid, is it damaged, removed. But if you inhibit it, then it can't remove, and bad protein will accumulate and cell will die. So proteasome inhibition is also very important. And so, but question among all these things, which comes first? This is very important because each of them had been used as a target to develop new medicine.
Uh-huh.
And as you know, more recently is developed the antibody against beta amyloid plaque, which has amyloid plaque, and they cleaned up, but it is a late event, so it is not effective. And so so the question is, how do you reduce oxidate, which is the first one. So we, after analyzing all the data, we decided and proposed and published it that oxidative stress is the first damage.
That's the beginning of the whole problem, is oxidative stress.
Whole problem is oxidative stress. And if that happens, then chronic inflammation occurs. And then oxidative stress also increase the production of beta amyloid. Oxidative stress also inhibits the proteasome activity. Oxidative stress also increases the hyperphosphorylation of tau protein. And so oxidation has become a very serious issue. So then the question is, how do you, so now in the beginning you have a two, because they are very closely linked, oxidative stress and chronic inflammation are closely linked. Chronic inflammation cannot occur without oxidative stress. And when oxidative stress, chronic inflammation occurs, it produces more free radical plus some other chemicals. So they are very linked. So the question is how to reduce these two damage at the same time. And if you do it, then the rest of the damage will not occur.
Takes care of itself.
Itself, exactly. And so obviously single antioxidant has failed. So we have proposed a multiple micronutrient similar to that you saw in a brain boost together with the micro daily EMF or micro daily alone. And so these two are the only ones. So the question is how you do it. Well, there are two ways. You have to increase because antioxidant is represented by two systems. One system is the antioxidant compound, like vitamin A, C, E, that we take from the diet. Another one is like coenzyme Q10, glutathione that our body makes it. So that's one way. And this can be very easily done because you take a supplement and you can increase the level of antioxidant compounds. But you also have to increase the antioxidant enzymes. If you don't get a full advantage of reducing oxidative stress and inflammation, chronic inflammation. So how do you increase? So you have to increase both antioxidant compound as well as antioxidant enzymes.
So pause right there for 1 second, Dr. Prasad. That's fascinating. We have someone that benefited from your formula. That might be a good way to illustrate this for everyone. That exactly how this micronutrient does it, and then I'd like for you to pick up and explaining how and why
Yes.
this might have been the case. So, do you mind if we invite Miranda to tell her story real quick? Because her husband
Sure.
had a dementia issue, and she directly benefited from Micro Daily.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jeff, we have Miranda on the line with us. Can we bring her in and can you add her to the spotlight?
Sure.
Here. You're there, Jeff? I can't hear you, Jeff. Oh, I see Miranda. Miranda Monroe. Can you bring your
Hello, everybody. I'm driving, so I'm trying to listen
Okay.
and make sure I plugged in, because when you're on the phone doing this, you probably can see me. But yes, I was introduced to Beth Studevant by another associate, and this individual, I kept talking to him about some of the things that were happening with my husband, and my husband's here with me. So he knows I've already talked about it, and he's going to hear again things that are going on with him and how he is improving. Well, I visited Beth in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I went there specifically for my husband. And when I did,
tell us about your husband's problem. What was his problem, please, Miranda?
His problem, I hope you can hear me. His problem is
Yes.
he started forgetting, and just a little bit combative, but it's in the same token, that sweetness that I was getting all along was kind of like diminishing. And he had primarily, he just couldn't do the things that he normally would do. For instance, for a simple thing as changing the switch out in the toilet. He said, I don't remember how to do that, Miranda. So I did it. And I said, Lord, please, what can I do? I need help. And this one, I was introduced to Beth. I drove to Charlotte. And from that particular point, she gave him some hydro. We were there for over 3.5 hours. She gave him some hydro. He drank it, and we continued to talk. She gave him a shake. We continued to talk. She gave him the micro daily, the brain boost, the CD boost. She gave him everything, and we sat it long enough for it just to get to dissolve in the system. So in essence, within the time frame of getting ready to leave Charlotte, he had started acting just so kind, so sweet. I said, Lord, the devil is a lie. No, I don't want nobody to steal my husband from me. And I don't want this dreaded disease to take my husband away, because he comes from a family where several of his siblings have died of dementia and or Alzheimer. So in essence, it started working. And let me tell you this. I told him just the other day, I said, the kitchen light is kind of dim. It's gone out. Now that's something he probably wouldn't even mess with. When I came home, it had been changed. I said, oh my God, thank you. And then I
Oh,
said to him, I said, oh, I need to put another brighter light on the other side of the kitchen. I came home, the ladder was up, he was changing a bulb. I said, oh, thank you, Jesus. Little by little, it's little by I give it to him in the morning, but water, the shake too, right? The shake, the hydro, he drinks that constantly. And he said, I don't know what's in that stuff, but it keeps me in the bathroom, Miranda. So I'm parking my car. So that's something that it has really, really, really made a major, 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 major difference in our relationship. He has returned to that sweet, gentle individual. And today, my husband, a person that makes me laugh all the time. So today, I laughed so until I said, "Oh, we're almost back to normal." But he still forgets. I'll be in shortly, baby. He still forgets some things, but he's getting there. Now, Beth said to me, she said, Miranda, excuse me, I'm putting my brace in. She said, Miranda, after he's on this for about 3 months, you're going to really see a major, major change. And I thank God for Dr. Prasad. Lord, y'all don't know. I just wished I had had this for some of his family members. But he's the only surviving sibling now. So in essence, he's just my miracle right now. And I'm praying and asking God to just continue to heal his brain, to heal what's going on in his body. Just do whatever it takes to bring him back to that loving person that when he touched me, I knew he touched me and saying, hey, I love you, Miranda. It's just one of the things, y'all, I can't even begin to tell you just how powerful this particular product is. It's powerful. It's powerful. And he's just only been on for a week. Just
oh,
a
wow.
week.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you,
Just a
Miranda.
week,
Wow.
y'all. And do you know
Miranda.
something? I'm just so overwhelmed until whenever I see him do certain things, I'm saying, oh, the man I've been married to for 42 years is coming back to me. And that's beautiful, y'all.
How
Anybody
old is
that's
your husband,
gone through,
Miranda?
my husband is 75.
75.
Yes,
That's
he's 70.
beautiful.
He's 75. I'm a little younger. But
Well, I'm Miranda, I'm 87.
oh well,
So
That's
we're
beautiful.
ahead of you.
yes, he is,
Miranda,
but yes.
Miranda, thank you very much for sharing that amazing
Very
story with
good
us. We know
story.
that you have another meeting that you've got to go to, so we appreciate your taking the time out just to share that because there's many
Very
listeners now
important.
and many who will hear the recording that will benefit from your story. So thank you very much, and keep us posted on the progress, would you please?
I surely will. Matter of fact, I left that meeting to come to this meeting. So that's just how important it is for individuals to know that this particular product works. It works.
That's
And I
great.
told my husband, I said, I'm taking it along with you. And my journey is to pull and to get other individuals into the business because this is wonderful and it's life-changing. It's life-changing. I cannot say
Absolutely.
that enough. That
Thank
if
you.
my husband, who is 75 years old, can within a week's time can really show a difference, it really makes me feel good. And to know that, oh, I have many more beautiful days and years with him prayerfully, and that we will continue to ingest this particular product because it's just that powerful. It is just that powerful. And matter of fact, I'm going in and out to prepare the hydros. I put it in bottles, put the refrigerator. Here you are. When you're ready to drink something, it's prepared for you already.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
wonderful.
you, Dr. Prasad.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Miranda. Thank you very much
Thank
again
you.
for sharing
Thank
your
you.
story with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Dr. Prasad, help us understand. Help us understand this. At the very beginning, she says her husband could not even change a switch. Was that the early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's beginning to develop?
Yeah. Earlier stage, you become sometime earlier stage, you forget the name, events, what happens, and also your behavior changes. You become more aggressive, and so those are early sign of the symptom of the disease. And of course, later develops more and more, then you are forgetting many more things. But
So then
interestingly,
what happened?
long-term memory remained for a while.
Uh-huh.
Your short-term memory goes first. And the
Ah.
neurons, which are stores, is called cholinergic neuron. And cholinergic neuron makes a molecule called acetylcholine. And this molecule stores really all the information where memory is stored, long-term, short-term, as well as recalling ability is also there. So your neuron, cholinergic neuron, have to be healthy. To make them healthy, you have to prevent the damage caused by free radicals and the chronic inflammation. And so the drugs that people are using right now in a treatment of Alzheimer is a drug which can stimulate the formation of acetylcholine within the cholinergic neuron. So all drugs are there. And so those drugs rely that nerve cell, cholinergic nerve cell, have to be alive to make acetylcholine. But they are dying from free radicals as well as chronic inflammation. But these drugs do not address that. So when neuron dies, the effectiveness of drug disappears in after a few months. But if you combine, for example, our formulation, which reduces oxidative stress and chronic inflammation at the same time, this is very important, at the same time. And this is the only product which can do it. And so that's why if you combine them with the current therapy, then it will improve or prolong the effectiveness of these drugs. Instead of 3 months, it might last 5 years, 10 years, who knows? We don't have a trial.
That's remarkable. That's remarkable to even contemplate, Dr. Prasad. So feeding the brain with the proper nutrition,
yes,
reducing the free radicals, reducing the oxidative stress level, and we're talking about, did you suggest DNA repair?
Beg your pardon?
Did you suggest DNA repair also? So we're talking repair of the brain?
Yeah, of course. Of course, the damaged DNA will be repaired. And we have demonstrated that. But that's why, not only when you are at risk or you are trying to develop dementia early phase, you should start when you are, say, after the age of 30, taking micronutrient. So that the normal rate of loss of neuron, which occurs normally, will be markedly reduced. Because what nature did not provide sufficient amount of antioxidant, we can provide that right from the beginning. So then when you become 65, when there is a risk of dementia becomes very high because there are fewer neurons there. And therefore, but if you take a micronutrient right from the beginning, then these loss will be less. It is unlikely that you will develop dementia or Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease. Sometimes the old, in a farmland in early time, they used to have pesticides, and that causes neurological disease. Especially Parkinson's disease. And so many farmers have developed Parkinson's disease. But even in those days, we did not know about micronutrient. But if, for example, right now, any place when you have a risk factor, and if you use micronutrient, that will be markedly reduced. Because free radicals are producing it. It's being produced. You can't, anytime.
You can't stop it.
You can't stop it. And for example, EMF radiation, you can't stop it.
Right.
We are saying that don't smoke, but the people smoke.
And
People
then we're
say have
exposed
a
to
good
secondhand
diet.
smoke.
They use terrible diet, all processed food and this and that. They generate free
Yep.
radicals. So our job should be not only have a good diet as much as you can, and you have a nice lifestyle, don't smoke, relax, do exercise, but also take a supplement. Like we have micro daily or, brain boost and eye boost, depending upon your age. It can be very useful for your good, healthy life in future.
Incredible. That's phenomenal. So, Dr. Prasad, we're going to look forward to your book and getting more details about this. If what we just saw happen to, heard the story from Miranda and her husband, that suggests that a person could take this product prophylactically right now and slow the
Yes.
chances
Yeah,
of getting dementia.
yeah,
If we add the brain boost to it, we potentially could even improve our memory on
Yeah.
some level,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
And of course adjust our diet and
Yeah.
exercise and do all the positive things.
Right.
But this is a good support mechanism for all of that.
Exactly.
And the cost, we're going to talk about the cost in just a few minutes, but really we're only talking about a bottle of EMF costing somewhere in the area of $80, correct? So
I don't know precisely, but yeah. No, I think it is less than $80. But I'm not
either
sure.
way, we're only talking about $2.50 maybe per day to be able to have the use of your brain and to reduce the chances of a poor quality of life.
Yeah, it is not only brain, but for against other diseases, because these two events, oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, are involved in almost all human chronic diseases. No scientist will ever disagree with that.
Wow.
They disagree how to reduce it, but it is like even, for example, Parkinson's disease, or if you have arthritis.
That's right.
They're all chronic inflammation, and
right.
And so if you maintain a low level of oxidative stress, low level of chronic inflammation, you will be very healthy. And like you mentioned, have a good diet, good lifestyle, and very easy thing to do.
So if we just do the math then, for just $3, really then if we just round it up and say $3 a day, your quality of life in general can change. So
and
just think about that for the folks that are with
life,
us.
then also you remain healthy, you enjoy life, quality of life like you mentioned, and for longer period of time.
Well, I know that for my personal benefit, my left knee was really giving me some trouble. And I don't have that problem anymore. So I increased the amount of micronutrients and micro daily that I was putting into my body, reduced the inflammation and all the areas of pain that I was experiencing. Now I don't have that pain anymore. So now I can exercise every day, and I'm doing great.
I do the same thing. I mean, and still I'm mentally and physically, except I have a little bit lower back pain, but that's all. I used to play a lot of tennis, volleyball, everything else.
Yeah.
So
well, it's clear to us that that your method is working, because you've got a couple of miles and you said at 87 years old, and you're still sharp as a tack. So can we pause for just a minute and see if anyone has some questions? Because Miranda is still with us. Some may have some questions. I noticed that Beth is also with us. Beth may want to share her version, her side of the story, because she was actually in the room.
Sure.
So Beth, if you'd like to tell us, share with us any observations you had with that, we'd love to hear that as well.
Hey everybody. Let me see if I can put this video on. All right. Yeah, Miranda and her husband came last Friday, and when he got there, he was quiet, head down, shoulders being, just not there. And I gave them the hydro right away. I felt like that would probably be the best thing to give them. Put in 8
Get into a
ounces of
system
water,
quickly.
and they both drank it. And so about an hour later, I mean, you just saw his demeanor changing right away. And I have a little grandbaby who's 2. So she was in there entertaining too, which always helps. But about an hour later, we made him a protein shake and then gave him the micro daily EMF, the brain, the eye, and the CBD boost with the protein shake. So we made sure they had everything.
Yeah, you hit them with the kitchen sink.
And that's right. And that's why I love people coming to me, because then I can, introduce it correctly. So he was a whole new person when he left.
Mm.
And, Miranda and I talked, throughout the week and that. I mean, it's just a blessing to see people. I'm recovered from brain injury. I'm recovered from being poisoned by big transmission power lines too close to my house. And
Wow.
so I know what it's like to not be able to have a thought. I mean, when I went through neurological psychology testing, I was less than a 2-year-old. I had my brain was really jacked up. My nervous system, my endocrine system. I'm medically diagnosed, so I can say all this, but the micro daily has changed my life around since last April. So I take everything every day, several times a day. And my grandbaby takes about 12 gummies a day. She loves them, and we love them too. So thank you, Dr. Prasad. I really appreciate what you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beth, for sharing your version of the story and your personal story along with it. So we got 2 for the price of 1 on that one, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah.
So Dr. Prasad, just to emphasize this happened within an hour that they were able to observe a difference in this gentleman, Mr. Monroe. Within an hour, does it actually get into the system that quickly?
Well, I mean, since he was taking a hydro, it is possible that there was so much free radicals that were generated, and he felt sick, and it causes a deficiency of all these micronutrients. When the deficiency immediately restored, then you will feel overall better. It was not only just the free radicals, but free radical had depleted most of the micronutrient that makes you happy. So now, once you restore them, you feel better overall health-wise. And now, if you continue to take it, then you will feel much better. But so quickly, because he was so much depleted with micronutrient, that he was feeling almost sick. And once it gets restored, then immediately you feel, okay, I have some more energy, So I'm not surprised at all.
Wow. Well, we were impressed, and we certainly appreciate hearing that story and being witness to it right now. We have time for maybe one question because we've just about used up all of our time. So Miranda has an additional comment. We'll get her first, and then we're going to go to the Wingfield family.
My question is, I have several friends that are suffering from they're suffering from arthritis. And Dr. Prasad, can you tell me what is the best formula for them? Because I did tell them, I said, I have something that is working on my husband and I want to share it with you. Tell me the arthritis portion of it. Plus, this individual also has been diagnosed with Parkinson.
Yeah. I think, for them, EMF, micro daily EMF, and brain boost because she has Parkinson's disease. And that will help a great deal. And if they have a difficulty in sleeping, for example, then she can take some the brain, what you call CBD, and that should be extremely helpful.
Very good. So micro daily EMF. So most of the formulas, but start with the EMF and add the brain boost.
That's
and
yeah.
the CBD.
Yeah, if needed, then you take CBD. Because most of the Parkinson patients have sometimes difficulty in sleeping, relaxing, and CBD, one capsule just before going to bed would be helpful.
Very good.
Thank
Very good.
you.
Thank you for your question, Miranda. And they'll notice, one of the things that you'll notice right away is that it's raising that glutathione levels, and glutathione definitely has been documented to have benefits with Parkinson's, but we're seeing it right here with Dr. Prasad's formula. So
exactly.
Let's go to the Wingfield family. She has a question, and then we're going to end our discussion. But go ahead, Wingfield family.
Yes, this last week, my husband woke up confused, didn't know where he was. We started having hallucinations, and they found a higher level of ammonia in his bloodstream. So how do we get rid of that? What caused it?
Well, if you have some ammonia issue in the blood, I think you have to consult the doctor, because I have no idea. But has he taking any vitamins, some supplement like Micro Daily or anything?
He's taking Micro Daily twice a day.
How old is he?
69.
69. Yeah, maybe he can try hydro, because sometimes older individuals have a difficulty in absorption of the micronutrient and slow absorption. And in his scenario, maybe rapid absorption might be helpful. So if you take Micro Daily Hydro, try for a month and then report to Jonathan and tell how he feels. But if there's some ammonia issue, that means there may be some kidney problem, but that I cannot help. You have to see a doctor for that. But for general health, I think you try hydro and see how everything goes. And then, if it's not controlled, then you go to the doctor, really.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Ms. Wingfield, what you might want to start him on too, while you're increasing his hydro, is get him lemon water. Drink lemon water throughout the day.
Okay.
And some naturopathic doctors have suggested taking a whole organic lemon, blend it all up with blueberries, and drink that every day. That will have an immediate impact on his kidneys.
Okay.
And celery juice every day. Celery juice. Okay.
Yeah, I think also that that you mentioned. I think everybody should drink a lot of water. Many people don't drink water enough, and just for general health. And I mean, sometimes if I'm not thirsty, I drink water as a medicine, because not every time it's very important just to clean up any toxin from your blood.
Yep.
Does alkaline water has anything? Should he be drinking alkaline water?
Alkaline water won't hurt. It will definitely help him. And
I don't think it will help. Unnecessary expense, but it is not going to hurt either. So I don't think it is necessary.
And you can contact me later too, Ms. Wingfield, 754-300-8909. 754-300-8909. So you can contact me later, and so we can follow up with you, okay, and help you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question, and thank you for joining us. And one last question here, Mamie Nesbitt. She's been trying to get this question in before we conclude.
Thank you, Jonathan. I have a question. If someone is taking, my husband takes a blood thinner medicine. He takes Eliquis, and I wanted to know if he would be able to take the brain boost if he took the Eliquis, because
it has no interaction. Eliquis is a blood thinner, as you know, and it will have no impact in terms of affecting their effectiveness. So I will take both Micro Daily and Brain Boost, and whatever the doctor recommends, Eliquis. Sometimes they will also recommend Plavix. It depends upon situation, but there is no bad interaction with the drug. So
okay, great. And what about the amount for someone that's in the mid-70s?
What is that?
What about
The
how much
amount
should,
of micro
yeah,
daily?
yes, how much should he be
Or
taking?
just take it, they recommended like some in the 2 in the morning. If you are just taking micro daily, it's 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. If you are taking micro daily EMF, that is 3 in the morning, 3 in the evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question, Mamie. Certainly appreciate that. Okay, Elise, you have a quick question you want to sneak in here?
Yeah, I was talking to a friend about this. For their brother-in-law is taking chemo and steroids, and she asked if there would be any interaction, any negativity to taking the micro daily.
I would suggest that to take how long she will take chemo and steroid. After chemo, then you take a micro daily.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. So for the record, just so that we can wrap up our discussion, folks, this meeting is not to be misconstrued as a substitute for a visit to your primary health care physician. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. Dr. Prasad is a scientist, and he's not giving medical advice in any way, shape, or form. So the information that's been presented is for educational purposes only. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. But Dr. Prasad, we cannot thank you enough for your tremendous reservoir of knowledge and experience that you have shared with us just this time, at this moment. And we look forward to inviting you back with us again in the future. So